Welcome to How to Train Your Dragon. Now, before I begin, I want to give a quick disclaimer. I do not claim ownership over any clips used. Copyright goes to its rightful owner. The movie begins on the island of Berk, which is regularly attacked by dragons. One of those dragons is the Night Fury, who never steals food, never shows itself, and never misses. During one particular night, the main character Hiccup decides to use a crossbow turret catapult thing he built, and he is able to shoot down the Night Fury. But after doing that, he is spotted by another dragon and gets chased. Luckily, he is saved by his dad, Stoic the Vast, who is able to fight off the dragon. Stoic is mad that Hiccup, despite being told not to, went out and tried to kill a dragon, and Hiccup tries to tell him that he shot down a Night Fury, but Stoic doesn't believe him and sends him home. But just as he gets home, he sneaks out the back door. Hiccup goes looking for the Night Fury in the forest, and while searching, a tree branch flings back and hits him. But in the next scene, Hiccup hasn't moved, but the branch has disappeared. Anyways, he sees that the branch belongs to a broken tree and sees marks on the ground and decides to follow it. This leads him to the Night Fury tied up in rope from Hiccup's crossbow turret catapult thing. So Hiccup goes to kill it, but he can't bring himself to do it, so instead he frees the Night Fury, which launches at him and pins him down. And if you look in the Night Fury's eyes, you can see trees in the reflection, which is weird since he's looking down at Hiccup and couldn't possibly have seen any trees. He screams in Hiccup's face before disappearing into the forest. Meanwhile, Stoic and other Vikings have a meeting where Stoic wants to assemble a fleet to go and try to find the dragon's nest, but as it's a death trap, no one wants to go. So Stoic says if you don't come with, you'll have to look after Hiccup, which convinces everyone. Stoic tells the blacksmith Gobber to stay home and train the children of the island, and out of those, the only one you need to know the name of is this girl, Astrid. Gobber convinces Stoic to give Hiccup a chance and let him do the same training. On the first day of training, Hiccup is almost killed by a dragon and told by Gobber that dragons will always go for the kill, which makes Hiccup wonder why the Night Fury didn't kill him. Hiccup goes into the forest and tries to find the Night Fury again. He is able to find it stuck inside a giant hole trying to get out. Hiccup makes a sketch of it and notices that it's missing its left tail fin. Later that night, Hiccup reads the dragon manual where there is a ton of information on every dragon, but in the Night Fury section it's almost empty and basically just states that it's extremely dangerous and to never engage. The next day during training, Hiccup asks Gobber a bunch about the Night Fury and he is told that anyone who's seen the Night Fury has not lived to tell the tale. Hiccup goes back to the Night Fury, but this time with a fish to get closer to the dragon, and after Hiccup throws away his belt knife, the dragon comes closer to Hiccup and the fish, and we see that the Night Fury has retractable teeth before taking the fish. As Hiccup tries to pet him, he gets away. Because of its retractable teeth, Hiccup names him Toothless. Later that same day, Toothless sees Hiccup just sitting and drawing in the ground, so he also begins to draw on the ground. Hiccup is amazed by this and starts walking around and learns that he isn't allowed to step on the lines, and after he gets out of Toothless drawing, he gets really close to Toothless and once again tries to pet Toothless but still isn't allowed to. So instead he just holds up his hand and Toothless presses his head against it. That night, Hiccup learns from Gobber that a dragon without wings and or tail fins can't fly, which explains why Toothless hasn't flown away. So Hiccup goes and makes a makeshift tail fin for Toothless. The next day, Hiccup goes to Toothless with a basket of fish and a makeshift tail, and while Toothless is eating, Hiccup puts on the makeshift tail. Toothless then tries to escape with Hiccup on his tail, and if you look on the ground, the basket has disappeared, and after Toothless sees that Hiccup is holding on, he throws him off, but he realizes that he can't fly without him and crashes. As Hiccup makes modifications to his makeshift tail, he also learns more about dragons and uses that knowledge to succeed in dragon training. For example, he learns that dragons are like cats following a laser, and during training he uses that to get a dragon back in its cage. Stoic and his fleet of Vikings arrive back after being unsuccessful in finding the dragon's nest, and Stoic is surprised to learn about Hiccup's success in dragon training. During the next training, Hiccup completes his training and much to his dismay is selected to kill his first dragon the next day in front of the entire village. So Hiccup goes to Toothless and plans for the two of them to leave Berk so Hiccup doesn't have to kill a dragon, but he's followed by Astrid, and as she's interrogating Hiccup of what he's doing there. Toothless sees it and believes that Astrid is a threat, so he attacks her. Hiccup takes her axe and throws it away and tries to de-escalate the situation, but after seeing that Hiccup and Toothless are friends, she tries to run back to the village to tell on them. But before she gets back to the village and tells everyone, they pick her up and take her for a ride, and at first she's terrified but later begins to enjoy it. During the ride, Toothless suddenly changes course and joins a pack of dragons to the surprise of both Hiccup and Astrid. He takes them to the dragon's nest and they see that everything the dragons steal is given to this giant dragon. When they get back, Astrid wants to tell the others about the dragon's nest, but Hiccup tells her not to try and protect Toothless, and before leaving, Astrid punches him for kidnapping her and then kisses him for everything else. The next day during his final exam, Hiccup tries to show everyone that humans and dragons doesn't have to fight each other. Stoic tries to stop the fight, but in doing so he scares the dragon, which begins attacking Hiccup. Toothless hears Hiccup screaming and is able to get out of his hole and get to the arena and try to save Hiccup, but he's apprehended by the village. Hiccup tries to explain his actions to his dad, but in doing so he accidentally mentions the dragon's nest and that only dragons can find it. Realizing his mistake, he tries to warn his dad about the danger, but Stoic refuses to listen and disowns Hiccup. Shaken by what he just said, Stoic leaves with another fleet, using Toothless as their guide. Hiccup watches from afar and is accompanied by Astrid, who asks him why he didn't kill Toothless, and he explains that he saw that Toothless was just as scared as he was, and Astrid asks him what to do now, and he tells her that he has an idea. When Stoic and the Vikings arrive at the dragon's nest and break it open, they wake the giant dragon, which burns all their boats. So Stoic orders everyone to get to the other side of the island while he and Gobber distract the dragon, and that's when Hiccup, Astrid and the other Viking kids arrive on the training dragon, which was Hiccup's idea. As the others distract the dragon, Hiccup goes to try and free Toothless, but the boat is attacked by the giant dragon and Toothless falls into the water. Hiccup is unable to break Toothless free, and before he drowns, he's pulled out by Stoic, who goes back into the water and destroys the thing holding Toothless. He apologizes for what he said earlier and tells Hiccup that he's proud to have him as his son. Hiccup comes up with a plan to get the dragon to fly after them and then lure it up into clouds. They succeed in doing this, and up in the clouds the dragon dragon loses sight of them. Toothless begins attacking it, damaging its wings until the dragon have had enough and begins shooting fire everywhere. This hits Toothless' makeshift tail fin, and Toothless and Hiccup dive back to the ground with the giant dragon right behind them, and as it begins to charge up its fire, Toothless shoots it, causing his mouth to start burning. As they get close to the ground, the dragon tries to use its wing to stop itself, but because of Toothless' attacks earlier, it can't, causing it to not be able to stop and crash into the ground and blow up. While trying to get away from the fire, Toothless' makeshift tail fin and tail burns up, and Hiccup is knocked off Toothless and falls towards the fire. Toothless dives into the flames after him, and as the smoke settles, Stoic finds Toothless, who reveals an injured and unconscious Hiccup safely wrapped in his wings. Hiccup wakes up back on Berk to Toothless in his house to his surprise. Toothless, who's really happy is awake, begins jumping around, and now, I could be wrong, but isn't that Toothless' left tail fin? You know, the one he's been missing the entire movie. We see that the Hiccup has lost the lower half of his left leg, which has been replaced by a prosthetic, and as he looks outside, he sees that dragons are now living with them, and Hiccup is welcomed back as a hero, and Astrid once again hits him for scaring her and then kisses him. He's also given a new tail fin for Toothless, and the movie ends with Hiccup, Astrid, and other Viking kids taking their dragons for a ride around the island.